Hello everyone. Here is the first scooter test for this year, or rather for the year 2025, and I have to introduce to you a scooter that might be the best mid-range scooter of the year. Join me. Let's start with the name. This is the Angwatt F1 scooter. Angwatt is Banggood's own scooter brand. I already knew that Laote manufactures scooters under the Angwatt name for Banggood. Last year there were several types, and this year there will likely be several types as well. Overall, it can be said that these are very high-quality scooters, well-equipped, maybe based with good capabilities, and very good prices. Let's get into the details, but first there will be an unboxing, then the specifications, and at the end I will focus on what it's like to use the scooter. I don't want to talk too much about the assembly because it's really quite simple. You just need to put the handlebars in place, install the central console, the instrument panel, and once you're done with these, you can proceed with brake adjustment, screw checking, and other usual tasks when setting up a scooter, and then you're ready to go scootering. So the assembly is not a big deal. You don't need crazy technical skills for it, but I definitely recommend that if you haven't assembled a scooter before, or if you feel that your technical skills are lacking, take it to a mechanic and have them check it, since this is a means of transportation. You will be traveling with it among cars, on sidewalks and bike paths, and if it's not assembled properly, it can be dangerous. So that's it for the assembly. Now let's take a look at the specifications. This scooter is a mid-range scooter with a peak power of 1,000 watts, and the battery built into it is 48 volts and 18.2 amp hours, so we get a relatively large battery. The tires are 10 inches, tubeless, and of course we get a disc brake with the scooter, although it's a mechanical disc brake and not with a very large disc, but practice has shown that they actually do their job quite well. The scooter itself is not a small item, it's very large in size, and the deck is also very big. Considering we're only talking about a 1,000-watt scooter, based on its size, one would assume it's a larger scooter than a 1,000-watt device. According to the factory specifications, the top speed is about 50 kilometers per hour, and it can cover 50-70 kilometers on a single charge. It's very important to note that the scooter does not have a C suspension. The front suspension provides proper shock absorption, and at the back there is a central unit that handles the shock absorption. Well, that's about it for the specifications, and I quickly want to move on to what it was like to ride this scooter and what advantages and disadvantages, positives and negatives I found with it. Let's start with the handlebars, because we find quite a few interesting things here. We have a really nice little instrument panel, which I really like, and I've encountered similar ones on Angwatt scooters before. It also has turn signals like a horn light, a gear switch, and things like that. So this is a really good feature, but what's even better about this scooter is that the instrument panel doesn't turn on with the power button, but we can turn it on with the NFC card that comes with it. This means that this scooter doesn't require any key ignition. We don't need to carry a key with us, and we can't lose it. This is a really great feature. I really love this NFC card solution. Regarding the government, I must say that we are getting a very good broad government. I'm not used to this width. It provides security, it provides stability. So we get a particularly good handlebar. There are a few things on this scooter that I don't really like, the first being the dashboard, which I'm not sure how visible it will be. In sunlight, it's almost invisible, but this is essentially the case with all similar scooters. I really don't know when manufacturers will finally be able to create a dashboard that we can use in sunlight. The other thing that doesn't really work for me is the indicator. On one hand, there's a rather annoying beeping while indicating, but this is still the tolerable part of the issue. The bigger problem is that this indicator, it flashes back here. Well, honestly, it doesn't make much sense. So it's positioned so low and is so hidden that drivers definitely won't notice this indicator. And they won't pay attention to whether you're indicating or what you're doing. So let's agree that this indicator is a bit unnecessary again. In my opinion, the whole thing makes no sense. Maybe just that we have an indicator, which is great. Here you can see that we're indicating. However, there's no problem with our light. I think the brightness of the light is completely adequate. We also have a light at the back, by the way, but it's hidden down here in the lower part. This is again a bit pointless in my opinion. It would have been much better if they had placed this light somewhere on the fender. In any case, this is how we manufacture. There is only one thing on this scooter that I don't like, and that's the rear fender, which in terms of quality is roughly like a sandbox shovel covering a quality plastic. Fortunately, it fulfills its function as it is large, so it definitely catches the splashing mud and water. But the quality of this plastic and the fact that the screws are screwed into the plastic, well, this turned out to be a bit cheap. But this is the biggest problem. The main thing is that it completely fulfills its function. And what I really like about this scooter is on this side a light strip, which even in this light you can see provides quite a striking appearance. But obviously while riding, especially in the dark or twilight when it really matters, it makes the scooter very visible. As I mentioned, the deck is the right size. I don't think anyone will have a problem with it. Even my size 44 foot fits comfortably on it, but you'll likely be able to scooter with ease, even if you have larger feet. And what I definitely want to show you, which I already mentioned, are these gas shock absorbers here at the front of the scooter, which provide very good suspension, very stable road holding, and safe usage. Okay, and then two more things. One is that the manufacturer has finally solved the issue that although the handlebar rod is still round, so theoretically it could turn if not tightened properly, they have added these notches, so the handlebar can be adjusted to 3 heights, and the handlebar rod will not be able to turn sideways, even under greater force. The other thing I want to show is this locking mechanism, which the F1 inherited from the larger T1 scooter. This is a very safe and well-designed locking mechanism. The scooter won't collapse under you while riding, so I'm glad they included this on the machine. Okay, well that's about all I wanted to say and show. Now let's move on to the practical experiences. Of course, I charged the scooter fully. I started the test this way, so I was able to see what top speed I get, and I also became familiar with the range. Perhaps it's no big secret that this scooter won't go 50-70 kilometers, meaning it doesn't achieve the range promised by the manufacturer. Weighing about 95 kilograms and in a temperature of around 15 to 16 degrees Celsius, I was able to go almost 40 kilometers on a single charge, but I was pushing the scooter quite hard, testing it. So if you ride more cautiously, if you weigh less and you don't have to climb hills with it, then you might be able to go 40, 45, very, very, very carefully, maybe even 50 kilometers, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. Regarding the top speed, what's interesting is that the speedometer is quite inaccurate, and it was very surprising because when I started with it, the scooter accelerates very dynamically and quickly, making it very pleasant to ride. It reaches the top speed very quickly, which according to the speedometer is 57-58 millikilometers per hour, contrary to the manufacturer's claim that it can only reach a maximum of 50. So I took out my phone, checked it, and in reality it was actually more like 48-49 kilometers per hour. So this can be seen as both a negative and a positive, since the speedometer is inaccurate, but the manufacturer didn't deceive us about the top speed. The scooter really goes as fast as they claimed. As I mentioned, there are no problems with the brakes, they work perfectly, and the front suspension is incredibly good, making the scooter much more stable than those with C suspension. With this scooter, you don't have to worry about the handlebars wobbling and throwing you off. It's much safer, much better, more comfortable, and more stable to use this scooter compared to a cheaper one with C suspension. It's obvious that the manufacturer intends this machine to compete against scooters in the Kukirin category, and I must say they are doing a great job, as the Kukirin with its C suspension is far less appealing to me than this scooter. Moreover, it has a large battery and a powerful motor. And regarding this motor, it's very important for me to mention that, interestingly, they specified it at 1000 watts as the peak performance. I think they underestimated a bit what the actual peak performance of this motor is. There is a hill here that I usually test, where I often go up with the scooters. Last year, if I remember correctly, the Kukirin G3 was the last one that could go up with a peak performance of 1200 watts, but nothing else could make it, not even the OOTD S10, which is also 1200 watts. With this scooter, with the 1000 watt peak performance, I almost effortlessly went up this incline. So if I had to guess the actual peak performance of the scooter, I would say it's more like 1200, 1300 watts, not 1000. This is obviously very good news, as manufacturers usually tend to exaggerate upwards, not downwards. So you can definitely expect that if you're looking for a scooter in the 1,000 watt category, then at least among the similar category scooters I've tried, boom, this will be the strongest currently. Well, that's about it. I left the price for the end, of course, which is interesting because the price of this scooter is currently between 180,000 and 190,000 forints with a coupon, which is an incredibly good price for this performance and capability. So if you are looking for a scooter with approximately 1,000 watts, good suspension, good acceleration, a very powerful motor, and one that can be used comfortably and safely, then I definitely recommend considering the Angwatt F1 as a viable option. Under the video on YouTube, you will find the link to where you can purchase it. And of course, I will also provide a coupon code. Additionally, I have written an article where you can find more pictures and information about the scooter, and I will place the link to this under the video on YouTube as well. Read it. This was the first scooter test, so that's it for now. I will be back soon with another one. In the meantime, subscribe to the channel. Be good, take care of yourselves, and enjoy the spring. Goodbye.